This chart illustrates a massive divergence in how two different parts of the world handle their money. As of late 2021, the gross savings rate in the United States typically hovered between 3.5% and 5%. In China, that number is a staggering 45.9%. Out of every $100 earned, nearly half is put away. To understand our own spending habits in the West, we have to look back at the economic trauma of the Great Depression. The severe scarcity of the 1930s left a deep scar on the American psyche. Following World War II, the American government actively pushed citizens to consume. Buying goods was framed as a patriotic duty to stimulate the recovering economy. That mandate birthed an entire culture built around financing options, heavy discounts, and the constant pressure to keep up with your neighbors. In China, the cultural script runs in the exact opposite direction. From a very early age, children are taught to revere the accumulation of wealth. They are handed red envelopes filled with lucky money for birthdays and holidays, and parents heavily encourage them to hoard it rather than spend it. The pursuit of wealth is deeply embedded in the society. During the holidays, the standard greeting isn't Happy New Year. They say Gong Xi Fa Cai, which literally translates to I hope you get rich. This 46% national savings rate is a systemic anomaly, the direct result of decades of historical pressures that forced an entire population to view cash as a mandatory shield. Unlike the United States, China lacks a widespread ecosystem of 401ks, IRAs, or universally trusted pension systems. There are state pensions, but many citizens remain highly skeptical that those funds will actually be there when they retire. Without those built-in safety nets, the average citizen carries the entire burden of self-funding their own healthcare, their children's education, and their eventual retirement. Then there is the heaviest demographic factor in modern Chinese history, the one-child policy, enforced from the late 70s to 2016 to stem overpopulation. This policy created an immediate financial double whammy. On one hand, parents were able to save significantly more of their income because they only had one mouth to feed. On the other hand, the cultural preference to pass down property and family names to a son led to widespread sex-selective practices. This visualization shows the exact scale of the resulting imbalance. At its peak, the Chinese population skewed to 122 males for every 100 females born. With millions of surplus men chasing a limited number of women, the marriage market became fiercely, ruthlessly competitive. To stand out as a viable partner, a young man had to prove he was highly successful, which meant hoarding massive amounts of capital. Combine a hyper-competitive marriage market with a total lack of retirement safety nets, and the act of saving money shifts from a responsible habit into an absolute prerequisite for survival and family lineage. So, how does the average citizen actually execute this level of extreme saving day to day? They rely on a highly rigid financial framework, known in the West as zero-based budgeting. The core rule is simple. At the end of every month, total income minus total expenses must equal exactly zero. Every cent is accounted for. It classifies savings, emergency funds, and investments as non-negotiable expenses. You pay your future self like you pay rent. Supporting this budget means adhering to strict lifestyle pillars. You avoid luxury goods, minimize dining out, focus on group dinners at home, and live on a tiny fraction of what you earn. Many of these frugal habits stem directly from a deep scarcity mindset. The older generation survived severe poverty, where affording a single tasteless white bun called a mantou was a luxury. They saved aggressively, not to buy boats or fancy cars, but to ensure they never had to go to sleep hungry again. Zero-based budgeting serves as a rigid tracking mechanism. It ensures every dollar is given a specific job to protect you from uncertainty. You don't need to inherit a historical trauma of starvation to benefit from this framework. You can adopt the mechanics while leaving the anxiety behind. You can start by rejecting the Western pressure to purchase items purely for status signaling. The Chinese model prioritizes remaining humble and flying under the radar, skipping the Gucci logo for hidden security. This diagram illustrates the concept of cost amortization for the things you actually need. Dropping $350 on a high-quality item makes mathematical sense, provided you use it for 5 straight years. It breaks down to just 20 cents a day. The goal is to stop spending your income to look successful and start budgeting your income to build absolute security. By giving every dollar a specific job, And treating your savings as your most important monthly bill, you fulfill the true wish behind Gong Si Fa Chai. You ensure that you actually get rich.